Today, we are going to learn a new portion from the chapter Displacing Indigenous People. Before that, if you are yet to subscribe my channel, do subscribe my channel, share the video and press the bell icon for getting the latest updates. Let us move into the topic. So the topic today we are going to learn is mutual perceptions. Mutual means what the Europeans were thinking about the natives and what the natives were thinking about the Europeans mutually. That is how they are thinking each other. That is what we call a mutually. Okay, like mutual understanding. Okay. So what they were thinking about each other. Okay, how Europeans viewed the natives of North America and how natives of North America viewed the Europeans. In the 18th century, Western Europeans defined civilized people in terms of literacy and organized religion and urbanism. So, what is the criteria of civilized people? According to Europeans, civilized people will have high literacy, they will have an organized religion, a well structured religion, and urbanism. Urbanism means city life. Cities would be there. So, that was their criteria. They were assessed in terms of, they were measured, their quality was measured in terms of literacy, then whether they had a religion, whether their cities are organized, or whether they had a city life, a luxurious lifestyle, etc. So if a society is having all these features, then those societies are civilized. So that was their criteria. These were the parameters to measure civilization. To them, the natives of America appeared uncivilized. So they classified natives as uncivilized, the natives of North America as uncivilized, because they did not possess literacy, they did not have an organized religion, and their urbanism, the level of urbanization was nil. To some, like the French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau, such people were to be admired as they were untouched by the corruptions of civilizations. According to the French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau, such people, the life of such people should be admired, should be appreciated. Why? We should appreciate them because they are not touched by the corruptions of civilization. They are not doing any corruptions. They are innocent. They are straightforward. So uh, we should not condemn them, or we should not criticize them. We should not make fun of them. Why? Because they are not touched by the corruptions of civilization. A popular term was noble savage. Savage means uncivilized people. Noble means who are in a higher position. The noble savage. Okay, they should have a higher position in our minds because they are not touched by the corruptions of civilization. They are not having any ill effects or bad mannerisms. Some lines in a poem by English poet William Wordsworth indicate another perspective, another viewpoint. Neither he nor Rousseau had met a Native American, but Wordsworth described them as living amid wilds where fancy hath small liberty to graze. What is the meaning of that sentence? Okay, graze the affections to exalt them or refine. What is the meaning of that? It means that people who are living close to nature, people who are living in a forest, or people who are not living in cities, they are having only limited powers of imagination and emotion, because the only thing they are concerned is just to eat and sleep. They are not thinking about anything else. They are not enjoying the beauty, or they don't want to set up cities or other kind of wants. They are not having, just to eat and sleep only. So they don't have the liberty, or they are not having high rich imaginations and emotion. To the natives, so this is the viewpoint of Europeans. Okay, how they viewed the natives of North America. Now, what was the viewpoint of the natives? Okay, how natives saw the Europeans. To the natives, the goods they exchanged with the Europeans were gift given in friendship. These people were innocent, they were straightforward. So they gave a lot of gifts to the Europeans in the name of friendship. Europeans, they dreamed of becoming rich. How? by conducting trade. How they will conduct trade? They will take fish and fur from these places. They will take to their countries and they will sell it for a high price in Europe. That was their idea. And the prices was varied, changed from year to year depending upon the supply. If they got huge quantities of fish, fur and other products, then they will be able to sell only in lower prices. But if there is less supply, high price. The natives could not understand this. They didn't understand anything. Why they didn't understand? Because they haven't seen a market outside their place. They haven't seen a world outside their place. They were confused why these people are taking things from here. Sometimes they are taking a lot of things. Sometimes they are taking less number of things, and sometimes they are giving us a lot of goods in return, and sometimes they are not giving anything in return. So they were thinking, or they were confused. They don't know what is happening. They were also saddened by the greed of the Europeans. Okay, that is, they knew that Europeans are greedy. They are not innocent. They were not innocent like us. They are greedy. They were greedy. To their impatience to get fur, they had slaughtered hundreds of beavers, and natives were uneasy, were feeling uneasy. So what did they do? So greedy Europeans started killing the animals for getting the fur, for getting the skin, for getting the wool, hairs, etc. They started killing animals, and natives feared that sometimes one day the animals would take revenge on these bad acts of human beings. Now, the first Europeans who were traders were those who came to settle in America. So, after these exchanges for trade, the first Europeans started coming in Europe, from Europe to America to settle down. In the beginning, Europeans came to do the trading and they went back. They did not settle down. But afterwards, there were certain traders. There was a group of traders who wanted to settle down in America. And it happened from the 16th to 17th centuries. And why they wanted to settle down? Reasons are mentioned over here. They wanted to settle down because they were afraid of religious persecution in their country. That means two groups of Christians are there, Protestants and Catholics. If Protestants are majority in a country, then they would persecute the Catholics, and if Catholics are majority in a country, they would persecute the Protestants. They persecuted the Protestants. So that was a situation, two groups of Christians. So they were afraid of these religious persecution, religious violence and all. Because of that, they became afraid and they wanted to escape from their country and they wanted to settle down in somewhere else. And when they saw America, they felt that okay, it's a good place to settle down. So that was one reason, religious persecution. Okay, so there is two sects. Two sects means two groups of Christianity, Protestants and Catholics were there. So if like England was a Protestant country, or England is a Protestant country, and their Catholics were persecuted, and certain Catholics countries were there, like France, Italy, and also their Protestants were persecuted. So they were afraid of the persecution, the violence of the majority group. So they ran away from those countries and took shelter in America. And many of them left Europe and went to America to begin a new life. And when they saw the vacant land, what did they do? They became very happy. They started settling down. First of all, they settled down near river valleys or very good fertile places. But afterwards, they started moving interior near the native villages of the original inhabitants. Okay, they started moving towards where the original inhabitants were living. And what did they do? They started cutting down the forest to make the farm. And for natives, no, they had close association with nature. They did not harm the nature, and they knew where to go, how to live, and all. Okay, they saw things differently. The natives identified the tracks invisible to the Europeans. So they know the path, they know the way where to go, what to do. And Europeans were not familiar to certain tracks or certain paths within the forest and all. But natives knew the path or way. The Europeans did not look into any paths or any kind of thing. They started simply, they cut down the forest and they started living. Europeans imagined the forest cut down and replaced by cornfield. They wanted to cultivate corn, maize, and all. And Jefferson, America's former president of America, his dream was a country populated by Europeans with small farms. That is, the Europeans wanted to make America a country of Europeans, not the country of native inhabitants. They wanted to create America a country of Europeans. Okay, and that country would be filled with small farms. The natives who grew crops for their own needs, done they were doing subsistence farming. They were cultivating crops for their own consumption, not for selling in market, because they did not know about market and all. In Jefferson's view, this made them uncivilized because they don't know what is happening around the world. They were living for eating and sleeping. That is, they were not concerned about a market-oriented, money-oriented economy. They were not attracted by the luxurious things. That was the viewpoint of Jefferson, Thomas Jefferson. Now, how Canada and USA occupied by the foreign powers. Okay, 1701 French treaty with the natives of Quebec is a place. Then Quebec occupied by uh, British in 1763 and 1774 Quebec Act. Then 1791 Canada Constitutional Act. 1781 Britain recognizes USA as an independent country and British give Midwest to USA. So these were the various exchanges, various acts, various rules passed by the Britishers, the Europeans. The countries that are known as Canada and USA came into existence at the end of 18th century. So previously, the name Canada, countries like Canada, USA, United States of America, it was not there. The present state of countries started coming only at the end of 18th century. Only at the 18th century, that is 200 years back. Before that, a country called Canada or a country called United States of America wasn't there. At that time, they occupied only a small fraction of land. It was not occupied by large number of population, only few people were there. But afterwards, gradually, slowly, Europeans extended their control over more territory, and now, both the countries are populous countries, and you can see Europeans only in these countries. Very few native people are there, especially USA and all. Population has increased manyfold than Canada. Large areas, how United States of America became a very big country. They started buying land one by one. For example, they bought in the south, France. From France, they bought a land called Louisiana. Louisiana purchased. Then Alaska was bought from Russia. Then they fought war with Mexico to get more land. So you can see in map. Okay, that is Louisiana. Here you can see. Then Alaska near Russia. Okay, near Russia is Alaska. Then all these you can see in different colors, and it is mentioned like purchased Louisiana purchased from France, then purchased from Spain. It is given in different colors. So this is a map taken from your textbook, so you can see. Okay, ceded by Mexico in 1848. Yes, here and all you can see different colors. It is given there how they have been annexed from other countries. So they did not occur anyone that they did not ask the consent of the natives. Consent means they did not get the permission of the natives or the original inhabitants or the people who were living in those places. They did not ask permission to these people. Simply they started purchasing, they started renovating, they started cutting down trees, they started making buildings, they started making houses. They did not ask permission of these people. The western frontier, the western boundary of USA was shifting one as it moved. The natives were also forced to move back. As the constructions were taking place, as the changes were taking place in USA, the natives were forced to move between territories. The western frontier, the western boundaries were changing. Okay, that is, if the natives are here, then the Europeans will tell them to move further back. Then the natives will move back. The natives will go back. That is depending upon the rules and regulations passed by the government. Okay, they were not allowed to settle down in a place. The landscapes of America changed drastically in the 19th century. There is mountains, plateaus, plains, everything changed. The Europeans treated land differently from the natives. Some of the migrants from Britain and France were younger sons who would not inherit their father's property and therefore were eager to own land in America. Now, who were the migrants? Okay, many people came from Britain and France and they were the younger sons. Why the younger sons migrated to America? Because they were not getting any kind of property in their mother country. The elder ones got all the property. Younger ones did not get anything. They were nothing left behind. So they migrated to America. They hoped that they would settle down there. They would get property, money and all. And it's a very good climate and all. So it is easy to settle down there. Later, there were waves of immigrants, a lot of immigrants from. So it started with the migration of younger sons from Britain and France. So it started from Britain and France, but later on, people from other countries like Germany, Sweden, Italy, all started migrating. Now, people from Poland were very happy to work in prairie grassland because in Poland they had steppes. So what do you mean by steppes and prairie? Prairies and steppes are grasslands. Okay, they are the grasslands. And what is the main difference between prairies and steppes? In steppes, you will see short grasses, and prairies, you will see long grasses. Okay, so steppes, grasslands in Poland, and prairie grasslands in North America. So the people from Poland were very, very, very happy to work in prairie grasslands, which reminded them they had memories of steppes. And what did these people do? They cleared land, they cut down the forest, they cleared the land, they started doing agriculture. That is, they brought new crops like rice and cotton, which could not grow in Europe and therefore could be sold, therefore profit. So here the land was fertile. They it became easy, or they were in a position to cultivate more variety or new crops like rice and cotton. So rice and cotton cannot be grown in European countries. So here in America, especially the places near to Tropic of Cancer, became easy for them to cultivate rice and cotton. After cultivating rice and cotton, it became easy for them to sell these products in Europe. From there, they used to get a lot of profit. And to protect their huge farms from wild animals, from wolves, mountain lions, and all, they were hunted, they were killed, the animals were killed. So why the animals were killed? To protect their farms from attack by wild animals. And finally, they protected their agricultural field with the invention of barbed wire. Barbed wire means steel wire with uh, sharp edges. Okay, steel wire with sharp edges were known as the barbed wire. So hopefully you understood this portion. If you have understood this portion, do subscribe my channel and press the bell icon for notification. Thank you.